What is up, boys and girls? NYK31 here, Madden 17 hits and misses this edition as we recap the Madden year. In this episode, we're going to be talking about pass rush. And really, when talking about the pass rush in this year's game, I'm talking about base pass rush. As you see Leonard Williams get a sack from the defensive tackle spot, a rarity, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But we really got to take this in three parts. When the game released, the game after the first major update, the game after the second major update. Release, it was pass rush bliss. You could get a legitimate four-man pass rush. If you had a team like the Jets, the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Giants, Rams, Broncos, Raiders, and a few others, you get the idea. If you had legitimate edge rushers, if you had legitimate three-technique defensive tackles like your Aaron Donalds, your Gerald McCoys, your Geno Atkins, they were getting after it. If you were holding the ball, just trying to throw deep all game against people like that, you were in trouble. If you were trying to release the ball at the last possible second while getting hit, you were in trouble. People online, the first month of the game, they were doing everything they possibly could to keep themselves from having to throw in long yardage situations. Beginning of the year, it was a running game, partially because of the stretch, counter, lack of understanding of run fits, but also because people couldn't handle the block sheds. They're block shedding. Oh, they're block shedding. I can't get the ball off. The block sheds, they're too strong. No, they weren't. You were just used to a world where you didn't have to worry about your QB getting hit. For some reason, Madden players, they don't like defensive linemen making plays. I don't know what that is about. I really don't. I watched every single EA tournament, and I endured all of the Twitch chats. Every time a defensive lineman did anything, the chat would go ham. They'd go crazy. For whatever reason, in the Madden world, if you're not concocting ways to send insane blitz pressure, they don't consider that playing defense, which is weird to me. But be that as it may, the inevitable result of all of that bitching and complaining was that the first update came out and it greatly reduced the effectiveness of your base pass rush. And that nerfing of the pass rush had a whole variety of consequences. Now that there was so much time to throw, people really began to notice and exploit how easily these zone coverages down the field can fall apart. So what did people start doing? They started tubing their offensive line, loading up on wide receivers, and just going nuts down the field. And here we're going to see some replay clips of some good pass rush sequences. You'll notice that most of them come on three down lineman rushes. And this is due to a couple of factors. One, the double team logic isn't always up to snuff. I mean, here you have an empty set. Someone's going to get a one-on-one situation. But here, the guard on that side decides to go inside even though the nose is already being double teamed. And you have Bosa here in a one-on-one situation on his side. But that's one reason. But also, your defensive tackles on your four-man down line, dimes, nickels, and 4-3 defenses, they don't get any push. There's no get-off by them. So if they don't trigger a move, they're just going to stand there playing pity-pat. We need line stunts to help free those inside interior pass rushers up a little bit more. Because here on the end, you see Bosa's animation here. That's a nice dip. He's getting low and bending, and he rips with his inside arm. That's really actually very good. But what's missing is the collapse of the pocket from an interior rush, so that you can prevent the quarterback from stepping up and force him to go wide right into his waiting arms. That you don't have. So either the end is going to win the move when he bends like that, which he does here, or he's not. And your defensive tackles, they're basically just run pluggers right now. People would rather drop their defensive tackles back into coverage than have them rush. They just don't get there. They don't explode off the line. They don't make the user uncomfortable. So it really reduces their value. They're just there for run stuffing. Here you're going to see my other ad, Everson Griffin. Again, great get off there. Really nice. All I want is a get off. What happens after the get off, I can live with. Either he's going to get there and win his matchup, or the tackle is going to, steer him. One of the two. But give me a get off, please. So, since those things were drastically watered down since release, what ended up happening is what you're going to see in this clip. People started doing stuff like this to get pressure. Actually, this clip is going to be an incomplete pass that used to be a sack fumble. Well, this one's actually kind of borderline. That's close, but you were getting more fumbles out of those than you were getting incomplete passes. Now, part of that they had to change because of the fact that the CPU quarterback was fumbling way too much. I get that. But unfortunately, it also drastically reduced the consequences of user controlled quarterbacks trying to get the ball off too late. I get that. That's just something that you can't really control, I guess, but it is what it is as far as that's concerned. But to get pressure and to still have some solid coverage behind it, people started doing this. Usually out of nickel, bring the slot DB, drop the other half, the opposite part of your defensive line back into coverage. Everyone's out in the power in this case, but even in most formations, the back's not going to pick him up, or the tight end's not going to pick him up, and, it's nickel blitz hell. So, yeah, Madden 18, just leave the pass rush out of the box alone. Make them learn, force them to learn. If they don't like it, they'll lose. And that's just too bad. It was right there. It was right there. There was nothing wrong with it. What we do need, though, is some line stunts for our defensive tackles to get them more involved in more creative ways in the pass rush. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will talk to you all later. Peace.